Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 20FE. Donjo says that this is in a 10B finish. This is a wraparound door reinforcer. They say in an oil-rubbed bronze finish. Only part of that is accurate. This is certainly a wraparound door reinforcer. It is not oil-rubbed bronze. It is quite complementary to oil-rubbed bronze, but it's not. This is a powder-coated dark brown or dark bronze or Duranodic or sprayed dark bronze. That's what this is. This is literally a piece of, this is probably stainless. Yeah, it's not magnetic. It's probably not brass. And it has been powder-coated, dark bronze. Donjo does use the term 10B and oil-rubbed bronze throughout their wraparound plate. None of this material... None of it is oil rub bronze. It's always going to be a powder-coated dark bronze. I don't know that they do anything in actual 10B. So 10B means oil rub bronze. There are three ways to say oil rub bronze. 613 you may have heard of. 640 you may not have heard of. And then US 10B. The US system is from about 1930, where the government led a group of industry of companies participating in the hardware industry and maybe others, and came up with a standardized system of finish codes. Prior to that, you could pull up a Sargent catalog and a Yale catalog and a Corbin catalog and a Russell and Irwin catalog and on down the line, a Schlage catalog, and you'd have all these finishes. Well, what if you wanted to buy the hinges from Yale, and you wanted to buy the locks from Sargent, and you wanted to buy, something else from someone else? The problem is you didn't have uniformity in finish. It was really, most definitely, in the consumer's best interest to have a standardization, and that's where the U.S. numbers come in. The problem with the U.S. system that they likely didn't foresee is that it doesn't declare the base material. Meaning, I don't know, if you say 10B, I don't know what it means in the sense of what it's made of. Because the finish that you'll achieve is wholly dependent on the base material. At some point, the BHMA system came about, which was the 613 and the 640, I had said. Those both mean oil rub bronze, just like US 10B does. But 613 tells me it's a bronze base material, and 640 tells me it's a steel base material. You can have a piece of plastic that's been sprayed this color and call it 10B. You can have anything, a piece of stainless. So the use of 10B isn't out of line because they are specifically not declaring the base material. But calling it oil rub bronze, which is associated with US 10B, is definitely not what this is. And I would not even call it oil rub. I would not even call it US 10B because nowhere is a powder-coated dark bronze finish ever called US 10B. Now there is a designation in the industry for it to be called US 10BE, US 10B equivalent. That would be okay, and that would match this exactly. It'd be better off calling it that. At some point, I think they'll catch up to it. I do occasionally have clients say, hey, this isn't oil rub bronze. No, it's not. It's not at all. And I do like to make people aware of up front when it's declared as a certain finish. It's not that. Now, is it complementary? Absolutely it is. I think it'll look just fine. But it's not exactly that. So what is this? Let's first take some dimensions of this reinforcer. Overall height, about 4.5. Overall width, it's going to be probably 1 13/16. That's indeed what it looks like because it's for an 1 3/4 thick door. The returns on the side look like they're about 1 inch. One other dimension that I can give you, I'm going to say this is about 35 thousandths would be my guess. I'm looking at it after I said it. I wasn't cheating. They say it's 22 gauge or .032. The teller of all truths tells me that this is .036. So there you go. I was closer than they were. Anyway, all kidding aside, it's about a 32nd of an inch thick, so that shouldn't drastically affect the operation of your door by adding this to the edge. Now, why would you want this? Where would you use this? Let's talk about that now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. let's move on to the rest of the video. Well, here we go. Where would you use this? Well, you have a door and you want or need to give it some structural strength. You might have had a break-in, vandalism. You may have kicked the door in yourself because it was the least destructive of all means to get on the other side of the door when you locked your keys inside. I'm guilty of that. But not so much damage that you need to have a complete wraparound. You might just have some severe damage just in an isolated area that you need to reinforce that, or possibly just do it for cosmetic purposes. You might want it to look better. You could have, an active door in a pair of doors that there has been an attempt to break in, and there might be some damage on the face of that door. Very rarely would someone put this in as a brand new installation. It would account for it, immediately. I've never really heard of that with this product, though with others I have, in fact, heard of that. So either you're mitigating a problem and it's the lesser of all evils, an outright replacement of the door may not be possible, may not be what you want to do. And the reasoning for that is it may not be practical to replace the door. You might have a door from 1928, and they, before veneer was a way that doors were manufactured, and it may be a door that's almost all but irreplaceable. It might be a door that would be exceptionally expensive to duplicate. So a lot of the times when there's some damage, a client will certainly take this lesser of all evils and just. And it's not awful looking. You won't really see too much of it. You could, maybe get a little more sophisticated. You could raise the sophistication in terms of the way that you'd go about installing this. You might mortise the edge of the door. You could take that door and put it down and then run a router over that area and route this area so that you bring that flush to the edge of the door. Now, it's not very thick, as we said earlier, but you might be able to increase the elegant, approach that you might take to getting that installed so it disappears as much as possible. You could also try to paint it to match, if you're looking to do that. It could be powder coated, because this is powder coated, all that stuff. Now, this model has what we call a flat front. It's literally a flat front. A flat front style is used in this installation. There are latch bolts that stick out of the edge of the door, and they have generally rectangular faceplates. There are those that are called drive-in latches, and they don't have a rectangular faceplate. They're just round. If you had a drive-in style, you'd want to use this type, because the other type of wraparound plate would be a recessed area that the latch bolt would fit into. And if you have a drive-in, you don't have any function of it fitting into a recess or an embossed section in the sheet metal. The other reason is that you're going to take your latch bolt and you're going to put on top of the latch bolt and the bottom, the mounting area, these speed nuts. You'll fit these over the latch bolt. Then you'll take these screws that are here, these unusual large, thin, flat, undercut head screws, and you'll run those through these two holes, through the speed nuts, and then ideally into the door. You could have so much damage there, and I don't think you would if you're using a small reinforcer like this, that you don't have anything to screw to. So therefore those speed nuts allow you to basically attach the latch bolt to the hardware, and all that would then go on, is what you would do. My opinion is that before you start to install this or get to the point where you're adding a latch bolt, is that you install this and then dry fit it. Don't screw it in permanently. Just get a feel for how it's going to work and then mitigate how you have installed that. You might need to make an accommodation. Some people will plane the entire door down to increase the gap. I don't recommend that because you're increasing the entire gap, unless of course it's not sufficient as it stands. The other thing that you could consider doing is, before installing this piece of hardware, if there is some damage that you can partially mitigate, you might clean out that area with a router or a hammer and chisel, put a block of wood back in there, glue it and clamp it. Use wax paper. Between the door and the block of wood that you might use to clamp, that wax paper is a shop shortcut to prevent glue from sticking from the inside of your block to the face of your door, you pull that block off and some of your veneer will come with it. So wax paper is really great. It works. I mean, we in the shop, we would literally go buy 10 rolls of wax paper at a time from the local grocery store. So you could take measures to strengthen that door before you put this onto it. But whatever that all entails, you'll arrive at the point where you're going to actually physically screw this to the door. You'll then have these four, well, there's 6. You only need 4. These screws here that will go here and here, here and here. One nice thing that you'll end up doing that will serve the best interest of your installation is I would get clamps, and I would get this clamped down to the edge of the door, a couple of pony clamps, hold it down nice and secure, pre-drill my holes, get that screwed attached so that when you pull the clamps off, it hasn't moved at all. You know, trying to do the nicest job, cleanest job as possible for your client or for yourself. And the reason I say that is because they're Band-Aids to a certain extent. And if you're just going to put this on the edge of the door and the door is going to stick and not fit and have to be pulled, that will definitely contribute to the premature failure of the entire opening. So a lot of patience and willingness to do it as best as possible. This becomes not that awful of an option when it comes to salvaging a otherwise less than ideal situation. Let's switch to the screen view now. Let's take a closer look at the supporting information. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Here is the item that we are indeed looking at, and let's take a look at some photographs that we have. There's the packaging of the item, the backside showing an installation. They're showing that for a deadbolt. Absolutely. Use it for a deadbolt. Why not? The contents of the packaging. Okay, just another view. The speed nuts are shown here. Those screws are going to run through there and secure that latch bolt to the unit itself. Just another view showing the U-shaped nature of the item. The underside. And then we have one more picture here showing the screw package. Okay. Now, extended description information down below. Let's take a look. Door reinforcer for deadbolts and key and knob lock. Sure, key and knob, lever, whatever it is. Screw packages here. There is no function of backset on this because there is no crossbore through the door. 1 3/4 thick doors, 4.5 by 1. That gauge, the finish. When you buy one, we'll ship you one. There's a template. Let's take a look at the dimensional properties of the item beyond what I've provided. Radiused corners here. That's a nice touch. You don't want a square corner there. You'll catch your clothing on it. Tells us that it's available in PB, AB, and S, and DU, and BPS. PB is polished brass. That would be a solid brass-based material. AB is antique brass. S is stainless. That would be stainless steel with a brushed finish. Obviously the DU, the dark bronze powder coat, and they can certainly powder coat this black as well. The year now is 2021, and black has been popular for 3 years or so. 130 years ago, it was a very common finish, and it's come back into the mainstream. You know, in the 70s you had antique brass and etched bronze, and the 80s was polished brass. The early 90s turned into satin chrome to satin nickel. The late 90s and early 2000s was oil rubbed. Then came in Venetian bronze and all derivatives of that. And riding that through, you know, we say black is the new oil rub bronze. So you can get that. What finish is popular today? Well, of course, your satin chromes and your stainless are very mainstream, solidly popular. You'll always be able to order hardware in that type of finish. Black is the vogue finish. Finishes that you do not see a lot today would be a 606 or a US 4. Satin brass we don't see often. And satin bronze has fallen out of favor a bit. Back in the 1990s, you'd see satin bronze. But it's still available by most manufacturers. Okay. Now, there's also a link below this video to the product catalog. And we can take a look at that. So this will show us wraparound plates. This will be a deep dive into all things wraparound plate related from Danjo. Pretty handy document because it will allow you to review all of the product offering from Danjo. Let's do a find function for 20FE, just Control F. I don't see that it's in here. There it is. I didn't have a dash. So they can do an 1 3/4 or an 1 3/8 thick door version of this. They do list these finishes here, which we went over. Black and they still call it 10B here. It should be DU is what I would call it. But the important part of this catalog is you may have the ability to use different types of plates. The real common ones are up front. The 4x9s, the 4x4.5, you know, those sorts of sizes for a single lock that have the recessed area for the latch bolt. Okay. What I do when I search this catalog, when I'm looking for a model, I don't remember the part numbers, but the single-digit part numbers are the real common ones. 1 CW, 4 CW. I'm looking at the line art. 1 hole, 2 hole, what size? 2 holes, whatever the case might be. And then I'm looking at the table to figure out which is the appropriate model. So a 256 and a 258 are the same unit. 2 1/8" holes, 5 1/2" centers. One's at a 2 3/8 back set, the other's at 2 3/4. Okay. Blank units, I've had people order blank units because they want to make their own holes. They've got an unusual situation and they want to create their own. That's great. Our clients are they possess a substantial amount of ingenuity and will often order material like that. This very large 20-inch tall blank, people have ordered that when they want to blank off 2 locks at once and simultaneously turn the door into a push-pull operation. And add a pull on one side. That's not uncommon. Then you get into the part of the catalog where you have units made for a particular lock type. This is for a grade 1 or grade 2 lever lock that requires through bolt holes. This prep that we call here, that you see here, we literally call this a turtle prep. If you use your imagination, you can see how interesting it is, the terms that the hardware industry uses, a turtle prep. Other lock-specific models are here as well, and so on, through the entire catalog. Now, speaking of the entire catalog, there is a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page, where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog here, which is broken down into several subsections. Hinges, pivots, ladder pulls, strike plates, protection plates, you know, kick plates, armor plates, mop plates, stretcher plates. If you know the name Danjo at all, you probably do for their latch protectors and, of course, their wraparound plates that are here. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. In conclusion, a decent quality little product that might just make the difference between salvaging a door and not. You know, backed by a company that's got a comprehensive offering of trim and auxiliary products, backed by people who are industry professionals. They understand the product that they sell. The person you speak to on the phone at Danjo can tell you the lead time, technical information about it, the cost, you know, where's your order, all of that stuff. Any questions on the Danjo 20FE in a DU finish, they call it 10B, or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.